Another episode here of Getting There with Goz. We talk about the career journeys of business owners, media members, coaches, athletes, and more. And a little combination here. We've got a former college athlete, business owner. I'm going to call him a social media influencer because he helps out people across social media platforms. Steve Karboski joins us here. Now, Carbo, you and I know each other through mutual friends. I'm so excited about your new business journey you're about to take on. But before we get to all that, let's start at the beginning so people get to know you a little bit. Take us through a young Steve Karboski, a young Carbo, 5, 6, 7 years old. Where'd you grow up? What'd you want to be as a kid? And it was the same job you wanted when you were 18.
No, and hello. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I feel like we've known each other forever, even though I haven't seen you in forever. Hello, world. My name is Steve Karboski. I am a 30-year-old entrepreneur trying to change the world. And at 5 years old, I was growing up in Deerfield, New York. And I don't remember what I wanted to do, but born and raised in the Mohawk Valley. And when I was 18, I thought I wanted to be a cardiologist. And then my first year in college, I took anatomy, and that quickly faded into the past. And I found business management, and I was really good at it because it was easy. And so from there, I said, hey, you know what would be great is this part-time job that I'm doing at a funeral home. And so everyone's like, you worked at a funeral home? I'm like, well, I really washed the cars. And so everybody's like, well, what do you do there? I'm like, I wash the cars as I'm in my makeshift house with my brands that I'm pushing here. But I started from the bottom, washing cars, working funerals, part-time at a funeral home. And here I am, a licensed funeral director 14 years later, right? So, I mean, it's a roller coaster of a ride, and like Big Hair Energy is part of that. It's like you said, it's here to help people. So like that's the big picture. That's the big picture of like where Steve Karboski is. But there's so many more layers there. There's so many more. It's like an onion.
Oh,
Right?
we're gonna peel them back, man. This is the world of podcasts. What I love so much about this medium and this form is that we get to pull back a little bit of these things. And yeah, you touched on basically you're the Drake of funeral directors. Started from the bottom, now you're here.
Yeah.
I think you're being a little modest though. A young Steve Karboski, a pretty good athlete in his own right,
Yeah.
good enough to play
Yeah.
college football. Kind of take us through that process of knowing that you're excelling on the gridiron and the opportunity to play college football. Did you get recruited by other schools? I know you end up landing at Utica, basically in your hometown there, but take us through the process of the opportunity of you being offered to play college athletics.
Yeah, I got recruited by a couple different schools. Auburn, Alabama.
That's not true.
None of that. You're like, excuse me? No. So in high school, I was a two-sport athlete, football and lacrosse, and I excelled at football and got recruited. Got recruited from schools like St. Lawrence, St. John Fisher, Hamilton. A couple pretty good. Union back in the day. I mean, the Union's a great program, but when we look back in 2012, 13, or 2008, 9, that program in Union was pretty spectacular. And in Utica, there's Utica College, and I actually got recruited twice by Utica. And the first coach that came got fired. And then Blaise Faggiano, who's still there, he came in with this vision and this mission. And I was like, it's pretty inexpensive to go there. I could stay home. I can not have $800,000 in college debt. And I went on to play at Utica College. Played all 4 years. Played in 40 games out of 40. And my dad went to 38 out of 40 of those, which is one of the greatest accomplishments, as a young adult, that my father was able to be there. At the other two, like one was in Bangor, Maine, and one was in Maryland. And I'm like, you're not going to drive 12 hours by yourself, because he wouldn't have spent the night anywhere. He would have gone, turned around, and drove back home. And I was like, you can't do that. So yeah, that was being recruited was a great thing. Football. I tell Coach Faggiano this all the time, that, football, and my high school coaches, I see him, has made me the man I am today, like the good, bad, and the indifferent. So all the sports fans out there, like, I get it. The gridiron of the commitment, working as a team. I mean, it all starts there. And, those habits, they die hard, right?
Yes. And before we talk about your professional journey post-college, I think we have to sit on that with that coach, because you mentioned that maybe a lot of people don't even know about that. He was a defensive coordinator with St. John Fisher. And I believe
Yep.
when you're getting recruited at the same time I'm getting recruited, he was doing things for St. John Fisher when he eventually takes that job for Utica. So a lot of the recruits he was recruiting for Fisher knew when he went to Utica, like he knew the players already. So he was already kind of having that pipeline a little bit. But now for you, you go from basically being a teenager, 17, 18 years old, getting recruited by somebody, and it's a huge deal, to now
Yep.
when you're in the professional setting, he is a peer to you. Like you guys have relationships at your alma mater now where you're talking all the time about how, right, to improve. You're laughing. Is that the right way to present that? Did I give you too much credit there?
No, well, the funny thing is, Blaise and I are in a local Rotary Club, and I was the president of North Utica Whitestown Rotary. And I'm in quite a bit of local organizations, not-for-profits, give back stuff. And so Blaise and I will have powwows once a month. And in fact, 2 months ago, he wrote me back in. The pandemic happened. We stopped having meetings like everybody did. He's like, Carbo. I'm like, what? He's like, we got to get back. And so, because of that, and you're exactly right. You hit the nail on the head. We have these professional relationships, and, we're peers now. And if someone needs something, I said, listen, I know Coach Faggiano will get you, season tickets to, you need help here at, whatever you want to give back to your clients, to your family, whatever it is, Coach will give you tickets. So, we connect them. It's how it's who do you know in Utica that can help out? And Blaise is one of those people. And we're doing a food drive right now that's going to end actually June 4th. And our goal is to get 1,200 pounds of food, and we're at 300 right now. So he's in Florida recruiting. And I said, when you get back, you need to help us go towards this goal. He's like, yeah. And Blaise, like,
Yes.
that's a spot on version of him. And anybody who ever sees this, they'll be like, yes, that is Blaise Faggiano.
I don't know if I've ever told this story. I don't even know if my boys from Salve know this story, but I was in similar fashion like you, going through the Division III recruiting, and Coach Faggiano, I would say, Coach Blaise, like he is one of these guys who can recruit anybody's tail off. Like, this as being a Utica alum, like the players and the athletes they get, it's no disrespect to Utica. Like it's because Coach knows how to talk and recruit and sell the area. And I was in a meeting with Hobart where eventually I ended up playing. And I was talking about the schools that I was interested in, and Coach Craig had his head down, and I was listing off Ithaca and St. Lawrence and Utica, and he snapped his head up. When I said Utica, he's like, why are you interested in Utica? And I said, well, coaches, and he just like shook his head like, how good of a job is this guy doing? Like, it's a credit to him. And I'm sure this is a weird way to view it, but like with that being your hometown, he's helped your area, not just your alma mater, but the area that you grew up in continue to improve.
Blaise has the gift of gab, which we all know. And he's fantastic. And if we get going, watch out, because we went turkey hunting last year. We didn't see any turkeys. We talked the whole time, right? But you want to talk about somebody who bleeds blue and orange, who is all about the Mohawk Valley, Utica, the surrounding area, and wants to make it better, and wants to make Utica college football, which, I was in the office yesterday, and the staff is ready. It's a different feel. You're a sports guy, like, when you know that coaches are onto something, they're built different. Crush the egg in the arm, built different. We all know what I mean.
Yes.
So there's a lot going on, and he is all about a hand up, not a handout. He's all about finding the person that was overlooked to say, you have this opportunity to come here and go from a boy to a man. And he has done that for the past 14 years that he's been there. And yeah, I know the wins, the losses count, but the fact that if you play 4 years of college football, Utica College, I think you have a 95% chance that you're going to graduate. Like, that's a statistic that's unreal. And, it used to be 100%, some things that happen, but we'll let that slide. But, he does a great job at turning, young guys into men, which is, I owe a lot to him. Will Pluff is one of the coaches that are still there. One of my best friends was in my wedding. He was a coach while I was a player. So it's a testament to the institution, a testament to the program. And all we got to do is win an Empire 8 championship. So come on, Blaise, let's go.
Yes, and shout out to all of our common mutual friends, Jeff Champlin and Nick Panisi and Greg Kaloya and Mike Dixon and all those guys. Well, you guys are enjoying, right? There's dropping those names right there, right? So your senior year, eventually, as much as you love Utica, as much as you love the area, they do tell you can no longer be a student here. You have to graduate. So when you're 22 and you have to leave Utica College, what is the goal at that point? What is that first professional job that you landed? Is it what you wanted?
Yes, but I will say this. I want to say one thing that in like we always talk about these grandiose things and these records that people did, and I'm all about sometimes like talking about the truth of things. Like my name is not going to be on any record book at Utica College. There's two things that I can say loud and proud. One, we beat Ithaca for the first time at homecoming my senior year. Two, I had a goal line tackle against Ithaca, and I'll never forget the hug that my father gave me after that. Of like, I'm so proud of you. Like I can still see it and like relive that. All right, so we'll close that chapter. But it's cool.
Yeah,
It's
no
great
doubt.
stuff, right? So we get done in my sophomore year of college. I realized that I really liked what I was doing at the funeral home, and I wanted to be a funeral director. So I said, I'm going to get my 4-year degree. I'm going to go on to Simmons School of Mortuary Science, RIP and peace. The school's closed. And so when I graduate, my friends are like, yeah, I got a job. I'm making 50,000. I'm making 60,000. I went back to school. And so, what's a I mean, the funeral home was very generous with the work. Like we knew the situation. We knew that once I got licensed was going to be a different scenario than, working the part-time. So I mean, I'm working part-time work, traveling to Syracuse 2 times a week, pretending to study, and do that for a year. Met some pretty great friends. One of them is Marcus Harder, who was also in my wedding. So it's like a strange mix of these Syracuse, Utica people back and forth. Um, Marcus and I barely make it through Simmons. We pass our boards. And then, a year later, 2013, I finally get in my residency. And so, it was like a long time coming, but it was great. And I think everybody forgets that it's not necessarily about the destination, right? It's about the journey. And like as you reminisce about these things, like yeah, look where you are now, but remember like the points along the way of what you did. And like I remember the stuff that we did that we can't necessarily talk on air here, right? Like this is a family show. Um, that's for another show that we could talk about,
That's right. That's right.
right? But like so then that happens. So that's like 2013, 2014. I get officially licensed as a licensed funeral director in the state of New York. It's like that's 7 years ago. It's pretty wild. So like to be
Yes.
able to be like to be able to be in your hometown of being, oh, you work at a funeral home, so like now you are one of the funeral directors that we call upon when a difficult thing happens. Um, it's it's a strange business, but it's also like a strange, like it's just a strange thing. But I wouldn't want anybody else calling anybody else, right? Like
Yeah. And
I haven't done any other podcast yet, but I'm getting there with guys.
this is where it starts. Getting there to the next podcast. Once you're done with me, you're just going to continue to blow up, and Big Hair Energy is going to look back a year, 3 years from now, and be like, "Oh yeah, that Gozilla media guy out in Albany and Syracuse and everywhere
Mm-hmm.
else." But two things that you just said about this. First of all, the fact that you mentioned the funeral director ambitions in college as an athlete. Marketing campaign, man. Like you could have played the Undertaker music when you hit a tackle. They could have had you. Like there's Jeff Undercuffer, who's a quarterback here in Albany. The marketing opportunity
Right.
that was lost there for
Right.
you.
Well, I mean, if anybody follows my Instagram, which is at big underscore hair underscore energy, anybody, they all know that I've done CrossFit now for the past year and a half. So the stuff that has come out of CrossFit is just like, we'll go in, oh, the Undertaker's here. Oh, look, it's Paul Bearer, right? So
Right,
like,
right.
and we're constantly joking about like just dragging people across the floor, like, come on, you got to get through this workout. Like, so like there is no lack of puns. There are no quiet moments of the fact that like I do what I do. And
So I feel like this is going to be a very annoying question, but you've dealt with it so much. But I have to ask for people who don't know you
yeah,
very well. Like they hear that, and that first initial reaction is like, "Wait, what?" Like you mentioned you were washing cars, so that was where like your entry position was. But was it the entrepreneur side of it? Was it owning your own business? Was it like people still hear your profession, and for a lack of a better term, might get freaked out that that's what you do for a living?
oh yeah, everybody does. Everybody does. Everybody's like, you're a who? You're a what? I mean, when I first got asked, so When I started, the name of the business was Nunn McGrath Malinsky Funeral Home. And then I got licensed. We moved on, from there, and then it changed to McGrath, Malinsky, Karboski, and Nunn, and that's present day where it is. So it's, so that's where I've been this whole time. So going from car washer to working funerals to working calling hours to when people pass away, going to their home, to the nursing home, hospital, whatever, to making arrangements, from start to finish. That's what we do from soup to nuts. And people are like, what do you mean someone died and you gotta go? I'm like, well, that's what I do, right? And like my mom to this day, God, I love her. She's like, what do you mean you gotta go? What do you mean you have a funeral? I said, well, they didn't know that we were trying to plan vacation on this day. I'm sorry that this happened, right? Like,
Right.
I know it's a weird thing, but it's a strange 24-hour business that like I'm on call right now. So like my phone's right here. And like it's on vibrate, but like if the answering service called, I'd have to be like, we need to pause for a minute. I gotta take this.
Yeah,
right?
And if we do that, by the way, if the interview breaks up, we'll show you how real getting there with guys is. We'll just stop and they'll re-record at some point.
Yeah,
It'll be great.
exactly,
It'll be great podcast stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's really getting there with guys. But
although then again, if that the thought process of us now rooting for that to ring, let's just pass on that. Actually, right.
No, we understand.
It's weird thinking about that now, right?
And so it's a part of life, but it's also a very grand profession in the fact like what we do and how we take care of people. And we just dealt in a family twice. A brother and a sister passed away a week and a half apart from each other, and like they're wonderful people, and it's a sad scenario. And like we're in South Utica, our funeral home, and the people who passed away are from there, right? So it's like old hometown. So all the people from all different age groups come home, and we know everybody because we deal in this family and that family, this family, that family. And so it's a strange phenomena. It's such a tough, sad time to see people that you've dealt with before or that are big in the community to come in, and we're hugging and kissing, saying hi. But that's sometimes what it's all about. Like calling hours are all about that, right? Calling hours about celebrating the life that was lived of whoever is there. So all these people came in the other day and they're like, so-and-so was great. And, this, and it's so good to see you. And now that we're coming out of the pandemic, finally able to have calling hours, it's just a strange time in the fact that we haven't seen people haven't seen us. And I know that sounds strange to you and me, but I mean, there are funeral goers, like who we see all the time. And I'm like, we're like, it's good to see you. And they're like, I know we haven't seen you in a while. Haven't many had those funerals. I'm like, yeah, well, I mean,
it's bizarre.
You're supposed to laugh. You're supposed
to. So weird, man. It's just so different. And I know it's something weird to be like mean, but like different. Like it's a completely different lifestyle than most 9-to-5s and 40-hour weeks that people have. And you know what? I have to ask this because look, usually on every interview we close like with the best advice to get where you are, but we're going to talk about big hair energy towards the tail end of this and coming up probably in the next question or two. But if you are somebody who's 22 or 23 and maybe even attends Utica College, what's the best advice to somebody who maybe is transitioning careers or wants to do this for a living? What advice would you give somebody who wants to be where you are in that profession?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the best bet is to get a part-time job, to say, hey, listen, this is what I'm thinking I want to do. And like everybody else in the trades, because funeral directing is a trade, it's a profession. It's just like plumbers, it's like contractors, what have you, right? There's going to be a need. There's going to be a need for people to do the hard work. And, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. It's not wearing a nice suit, and it's not driving in, nice Lincolns and Cadillacs, which is a bunch of people think. That's part of the job. But the other part of the job is, when a death occurs, we're the people that help put a grieving family, the pieces back together, right? So you first have to say, am I able to do that? Am I able to give up my own holidays, my time, what have you, to help people through the most difficult time in their life? You can do that by saying, I want to be on call, to go to hospitals, nursing homes to help you with that, to working funerals, to working calling hours, to see if that's what that is. It's not for everybody, but I mean, neither is hosting a podcast, right? Neither is being a contractor, neither is being a teacher. Oh my goodness. I thought being a teacher would be great, but I went to the high school to pick up food, and I'm like, this is like an institution in here. like to get in, and the kids are all separate. They're wearing face masks, and I was like, I could never go back to high school ever.
Not even your alma mater, not Whitesboro High?
No. Hail to the sons of Whitesboro. No, thank you. I'm sorry. I mean, I might sub if I had to, but I wouldn't be able. They'd kick me out. I'm too loud. I'm too real. I'd be like, what? Why didn't you change your homework?
See,
You're
this
lazy?
is
Okay.
this is exactly the reason why I could not wait to get you on this podcast, because people probably heard the promotion for this. They're like, oh, Gaz has a former college football player on who's a funeral director who also runs Big Hair Energy. Wait a second. None of these personalities are matching. He is a ball of energy. He can talk. He's charismatic. He's got all these things. So when we go from the funeral director, where so many people have these misconceptions of people in your craft that, almost stoic and aren't laughing and have no emotions, to somebody like you, who is the complete opposite of what most people think of funeral directors.
Yeah.
And now we get to talk about Big Hair Energy. And I'll tell you, I was off Facebook since college. And when I transitioned from radio to podcast, I expanded my social media. And one of my friends was you. And if you want to share your personal page, you can. If you don't, you don't want to. But I'm serious. And you know this. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm watching your videos because you've used your social media to encourage people with different things. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, kind of give us a little explanation of how you've used Facebook in particular, encouraging people.
So everybody says, where did it come from? Where did Big Hair Energy come from? And I'm like, it just happened. It's what are you talking about? And so when I first joined CrossFit in December of 2019, before the world shut down, so we're at hometown, my buddy Dave Mettleman, we played football together. I'm right guard, he's right tackle. The fact that we played next to each other, we were in every single class our senior year, that we're both still alive, is a sight to behold, right? So I joined this gym, Mohawk Valley Wellness, and there's Dave. Hey Dave, what's up? So getting the band back together, and a buddy of ours, Will Bradley, who quickly has become a very good friend, we started doing these videos. So we'd get done with the workout, we'd do this outlandish videos, and it was, Will Bradley would be the MC, and it was almost like a WWE promo, right, guys? So
that's my wheelhouse, yeah.
So Will be like, and we're here on this, Motivation Monday. This is way back. Motivation Monday with Diamond Dallas Dave. And Dave would come in, swoop in, and he'd be like, we were here clanging and banging, baby. And, we're after the workout. And I'd come in and I'd be like, Carbo Load, The Undertaker, those the original things that we were talking about. And we would make fun of people who weren't in the positive way, who weren't at the workout. And so somewhere in that time period, in that very short, January, February, Big Hair Energy came, because right now my hair is gelled, but for the viewers, it'll start it just has a mind of its own. So product placement, I use some Head and Shoulders, so it's a little more tan today. But as you see, it's crazy.
Yes.
And that's docile, right? So the pandemic happens, and it's I can't do any of my work. I'm working out at home. I have a garage, but my wife's stuff is in the garage, and I had a gym that was a 3x3 space with 295-pound barbell, at the weights on, a pull-up bar that's in this doorway right here. If you could zoom in above, you could see where my pull-up bar was during quarantine, and it's dented in. And I'm I could never sell this house now because I'm never gonna fix that. And so, quarantine slapped everybody, and I started doing these videos, and just positive motivation, hey, we're gonna get through this. We look back on it and we all think it's a dream, but it really happened. And then the gym opened back up, and it just became Big Hair Energy, and I cultivated, it became Make It Happen Monday. So it was Motivation Monday, then it was Make It Happen Monday. And a lot of people will say well, now it's a Made It Happen Monday because I'm already done. Hump Day, Pump Day, and then of course America's favorite day, Flex Friday. It's Flex Friday.
I'm flexing, yeah, that's right.
And so that started to happen. And the strange thing was, as I was doing this, I didn't have a logo. Shout out Ryan McGrogan. I didn't have a logo or anything. This is my own shirt, by the way, that I had printed. So I brought my own T-shirts. You want to talk about entrepreneurship? I'm in the middle of the story about how BHE happened. But these are my own T-shirts that I brought to say, Mike, it's CNY Awards. I need you to print this. And on the back is the logo.
Yeah.
These are the OG, like the V-neck with the hashtag. So like crazy
One
people.
color, one color print, keep the price
One
down. You know
color
what you're
print.
doing. Yeah, exactly.
One color print.
Hmm.
So like then all of a sudden, I would say probably around July, like middle of July, I get these messages from people that like I went to school with, like randomly. Hey Steve, I want to let you know I've been following along. You've helped me through a really, really hard time in my life. And this one kid went to school with him, came out, came out to the world, um, is gay and said, like, here I am going through this like before the pandemic. And he's like, you have let me know that there are good people in this world and that it's like, we're gonna be okay. And so we talked a lot and like he likes all the stuff and like it's awesome. And like we talk from time to time. And like the amount of people that will randomly message me or say, like, this means more than you know. And so like I originally did this as like, all right, motivation, like the logo was really cool. Like I haven't made any money in doing this, which I really don't care. Like I'm not if one day I make millions, great. But this is just to get people like through their day. And this one girl who we just did bingo last night. I was telling you about this. I did bingo
Yeah.
with these people at the Pines, which is a nursing home in the area, but it's for their staff. And Nikki, she reached out to me and my buddy Ross goes to the gym, he's the administrator, and he's like, let's do bingo with Big Hair Energy. I'm like, first off, Ross, how do you know about this? Why would you want me to do bingo? He's like, Nikki watches your videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I said, what? She's a year older than me in school. We went to school. She's a UC grad. Like you never know the impact that you have on people, right? And like that's
Yeah.
the moral. That's the moral of Big Hair Energy. It's like you never know you never know the impact. You're never gonna know. You're never gonna know the ripple effect. So like I could say that today's video has 70 views. Wednesday's video or Monday's video had 140. Like I watched that like it's Dogecoin.
Oh man, I'll add to that. By the way, like the people who are talking about, and I'm out of my Dogecoin. By the way, I didn't get in on that. Elon Musk to the moon, Gozilla Media, and Big Hair Energy to the moon,
To the
right?
moon.
Yeah. I will. My personal experience. Add me to the list of people who watch your video every single morning because when I was going through my career change here, like I worked afternoon drive for about 10 years, 8, 9, 10 years of my life. So I'd get up at like 9:30, 10 a.m. because I'd work, afternoon drive, then stay up late to watch the games. But with the baby here, I'm up at 6:15, 6:30, 7 o'clock now. And my phone would always get notifications from you. And I thought that was just a Facebook thing. Like, Steve Carbo's live. And I just clicked it. And I'm like, oh, is this what Facebook is now? I've been on since college. It's been 9 years. And then I
Yep.
watched your video. I'm like, oh man, I like this. And then I watched another. And I'm telling you, dude, it gets me through some tough times when I'm in a career change and trying to do this and doing something I've never done before. There are some videos where I'm telling you, I'm listening with my wife and I'm turning around like, is he here? Like, is he in our house right now? Like talking about me directly to I'm telling you, man, I've become a fan of those. And please keep doing those things because I think you and I have learned this, especially because, again, we're the same age, that we talk about reach. You just mentioned it, podcasts, in that you have no idea. It used to be just radio and TV, like whoever had it got reached. You have such a bigger audience now with the expansion of media. Like you just said, you have no idea who's watching your videos every single day and the impact you're having. And you're finding out, and it's so rewarding, not financially, but you feel like you're actually helping people, which feels so much better than a paycheck.
No, first off, thank you for saying that. And like no one, so like there's two facets, right? There's the funeral director Steve Karboski, and then there's like Bigger Energy, and like they're synonymous and the same, but oftentimes they're separate. But sometimes they do merge together. And we at the gym there's four friends. I had to count. It's hard to count sometimes. But there used to be five, but four of us who meet together every Friday after the gym. We call it Meathead Mastermind, right? And we always have, we call it like a what the F moment that happened in the week. Well, 2 weeks ago, we were at a service, and the deacon who's giving the service is like a great friend of mine. And we were talking before. He mentioned Big Hair Energy in the funeral service. So, and like talked about it, and I was like, what? And it was just like, it was mind blowing. And I like what started as, like I think it's Shia LaBeouf. Don't let your dreams be dreams. But like what started as this small thing is like I love it. Like I love the fact, and I know it's so cheesy and corny, but like people need to know that you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine. Like it's gonna work out. And you might be in this rut, but it's like you look at the long game, the peaks and valleys are rolling hills, baby. Right?
That's it. No, like what you just said right there is so important. And for you and I, and for somebody listening, and you mentioned the pandemic earlier, it all ties in now because what's happening now is not just people in their early 30s, but mid 20s, hell, your mid 40s. People fear the opportunity of, you know what, I've always wanted to do this for my life, for my career, for my, connecting with people, that they never take that first step. And you need people like Steve Karboski that are giving you that motivation. Like, no, you can do this. Like, there's going to be hills and valleys. But if you take the ride with yourself and do what you want to do and you hit, there's going to be no better feeling you ever have. And that's why another reason I was so thrilled to have you on, because a lot of people that have joined Gozilla Media are doing what you're doing. They're doing a podcast for the first time. They're being a host for the first time. They're interviewing people they've never interviewed before because they have this format. And now here we go. Like, I'm happy to announce, if it's okay with you, like Big Hair Energy is doing t-shirt giveaways across the Gozilla Media podcast. So if you don't win the contest, BHEclub.com/shop. Did I get that right? BHEclub.com/shop. It's right here on the bottom.
Right there.
Yeah, so BHEclub.com/shop. If you don't win the contest, you can still order your t-shirts and your gear right now. And make sure you're following Gozilla Media if you're listening, Apple, Spotify, Gozilla, Gozilla Media, and listen for all the other podcasts so you can find out your way to win Big Hair Energy gear. Giveaways, and check Instagram, social media, all that stuff. You want to shout out your Instagram and all that stuff so people can follow along?
So, sorry, my dog's getting off the couch, and it's the loudest. It's the loudest thing in the house right now. Okay.
No, it was the perfect time to do my read then.
It was the perfect time to read, right? So okay. Come on over. Come on. All right. Sorry, the word. Come
also, on. Big Hair Energy dog gear will be available later in 2021.
He didn't want to be. Yeah, exactly. So, so on Instagram, you can find us at big_hair_energy. It's easy. There's my dog. There you go. Product placement. We call him affectionately employee number 2. That's what he thinks about that. Can't make this up. I love it. And then you could always, Stevie Carbo, I'm on Facebook, and like, you want to come along for the ride? Great. Let's do it. Like, I'm, debating the next steps of getting, a Facebook page, whatever they're called out, getting that going.
I think it's the Facebook now.
The Facebook. So we're getting that going. But like I say, you have all the power. If you try and fail, congratulations, because most people don't try. Right?
It's well said, man. And I think the future for you, who knows? Maybe we get like a nice golf tournament in the future. Maybe a event out in Utica, a fundraiser, charities. All the people in the if you want a crew from the capital region and from Syracuse, I think more so than anybody, you got the potential to make it happen. And now you got a bunch of supporters out here in the 518.
We're ready. I love the 518. It's we've done a lot of fun things out there. We also can't talk about that on here. But I look, hello to your beautiful wife. Congrats on the baby.
Thank you.
Out there. And thank you so much for taking the time.
Before we close, man, do you want to give us a little motivation? Do you want to give us a Flex Friday? I feel like I'm cheapening the product to go to your Facebook.
No, we're not cheapening this.
Okay, I feel like that's the best way to close here. Show the mug. There you go on our YouTube side. There's the mug right there. Are those available in the gift shop as well?
I think they were last time. They might still be. I need to tell Amanda Potter to be like, I'm going to be on a podcast, so we got to keep the store open a little bit longer, right? So she'd be like, "What? You're killing me." I'm like, "Okay, well, she's the one that handles that for now." So we're going to get your stuff. We're going to get your things. Today we talked about 3 things, and we always want to talk about like how do we remember 3 things on takeaways, right? So when you go through life, I want to reiterate what I said, that the highs and lows of life that we live, oftentimes when we look back, you're going to see that they're nice, smooth, rolling hills and rolling valleys, right? So I want you to remember that right now you may be on the very tippy top. That's great. Keep pushing on that. If you're at the very bottom, there is light ahead. So keep pushing. So that's number 1. Number 2, this is like the biggest pet peeve that I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm a 4:30 in the morning guy, gym at 5. And if you are the person that says there is not enough time in the day, go to bed earlier and get up earlier. put your phone down, get off Instagram, put the TV away, go to bed at 9, and get up at 4, and get done more before 9 o'clock than most will in the entire day. And that will change your life, right? And the last thing I will leave you with is that you are the average of, it's like the 4 people you hang around with most, right? So think about that. So you are the average of 4 people you hang around with most. I know. I always say this. My dog looking, he's like, "Oh, this again? We already did this morning, right?" So you're the average of 4 people you hang out with most. So if you are out at the bar, if you're overweight, if you're unhappy, who are the people you hang around with? Do you have someone like a Goz who's out there making it as an entrepreneur? Do you have someone who might be half of Big Hair Energy? Who are the people that are shaking and moving that you want to be like? Find them, get in their circle, talk to them, because they are more than willing to help you. Those are the 3 takeaways. Those are very simple, small things to change your life in big, big leaps and bounds.
I'm so excited for the future of Big Hair Energy. I'm so excited to continue
too.
to follow your stuff, man. Steve Karboski, for people, this is the first time they may have been exposed to you. I know they're going to become fans. They're going to follow you on Instagram and the shop. I can't wait to see people in the 518 rocking your gear very soon. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm sure this will not be the final time we'll be talking. We got a lot more stories to share on another podcast in the future.
Yes, we do. Yes,
and who knows? Maybe one day you'll be doing this. Maybe a Big Hair Energy podcast is on the way. I just got to do some more recruiting. I'll have to come to the Valley and recruit you a little bit better next time.
We're coming from 105.1, the voice of the Valley. We're getting there with guys.
Goodbye, my friend. I'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.